the lectionary begins, there was a wedding at Cana. John 2 begins, on the third day. The lectionary cuts off John's appeal to Israel's scriptures. The phrase the third day occurs first in Genesis chapter 22, verse 4. It was on the third day when Abraham saw the mountain of the Lord, where he was to sacrifice his son Isaac. In Jewish tradition, this location is Mount Zion, where the Jerusalem temple stood. Exodus chapter 19, verse 11 states that on the third day, God appeared on Mount Sinai and gave the Torah to Israel. Hosea chapter 6, verse 2 exhorts the people to return to the Lord, for after 2 days he will bring us to life, and on the third day he will raise us up that we may live before him. And more, it will be on the third day that Jesus, according to the Gospels, is raised. For John, Jesus is like Isaac, he is like Moses. For John, understanding Jesus requires understanding Israel's scriptures. Next, weddings also connect Jesus to Jewish tradition. Israel's scriptures describe God as Israel's bridegroom or husband. The first reading for today, the second Sunday in ordinary time, it's Isaiah chapter 62, and verses 1 through 5 include the line, "As a bridegroom rejoices in his bride, so shall your God rejoice in you." Further, the good wine Jesus provides the wedding at Cana is a foretaste of the messianic banquet, when, as Isaiah 25, verse 6 proclaims, "The Lord of hosts will make for all the peoples on this mountain a feast of rich food, a feast of well-aged wines, of rich food filled with marrow, of well-aged wines strained clear." Isaiah 25 goes on to announce that God will swallow up death forever. John 2, the story of the wedding at Cana, is a midrash on Isaiah 25. Again, to understand the gospel requires understanding Israel's scriptures. And finally, weddings are occasions when different families unite. The psalm for today celebrates, "Proclaim his marvelous deeds to all the nations," proclaiming healings or walking on water, exorcisms or resuscitations. Those are all to the good. But having the first sign be at a wedding to show Jesus' attention to his mother, to spare people of social embarrassment, these are all experiences to which everyone can relate. The proclamation is not just about global issues. It's not just about tremble before him, all the earth. It's also about personal issues and private issues, because the gospel speaks to personal concerns. John chapter 2, verse 3 states, "When the wine ran short, the mother of Jesus said to him, 'They have no wine.'" The mother uses a form of speech known as an indirect request. The same formulation appears in John 11 when Mary and Martha send word to Jesus about Lazarus. "Lord, look, the one whom you love is ill." The mother expects Jesus to do something about the wine, just as the sisters expect Jesus to do something about their brother. In John 19:28, as Jesus is dying, he says, "I thirst." This is another indirect request. Jesus thirsts not simply for something to drink, but to be in communion with his followers. So Jesus responds to his mother, "Woman, how does your concern affect me?" Well, he calls the Samaritan woman at the well woman. Again, at the cross, he calls his mother woman. And at the tomb, he calls Mary Magdalene woman. And this repetition, woman, 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 emphasizes women's roles. The gospel cannot be told without them. Despite Jesus' abrupt response, his mother says to the servers, "What he tells you, do." I like Jesus' mother, one Jewish woman to another. She knows her son. But even more, the term John uses here for servers is diakonoi, whence the word deacons. And these servers, these deacons, both listen to Jesus and listen to a woman, his mother. These deacons, in fact, likely included women, since the Greek masculine plural can include women. Speaking of women deacons, in Romans 16, verse 1, Paul mentions a woman named Phoebe, a deacon of the assembly, and the word behind assembly is in Greek ekklesia, church, at Kenkriai, which is the port of Corinth. And finally, in our chapter, verse 6 mentions that there were 6 stone jars there for Jewish ceremonial washings. Many Christian commentators claim that by turning water into wine, Jesus eliminates Jewish purity practices and so replaces law with grace. This view is nonsense. Everyone at the wedding had already washed. The meal is in full swing, so much so that all the wine had been consumed. And this is why Jesus instructs his servants to fill the vessels. Chalkstone or limestone vessels, which, unlike ceramics, are impervious to impurity, are found in archaeological digs throughout Lower Galilee. Chalkstone vessels, aniconic coins, ritual bathing pools, all of these help Jews celebrate their distinctive way of life, despite Roman pressures to assimilate. And the concern for washing is also found in the Catholic practice of lavabo. Without knowing the Jewish scriptures, we cannot understand the gospel. And if we misunderstand Jewish practice, we also misunderstand Jesus. So welcome to the wedding, and drink and enjoy.